I was a battered wife as a young woman, so I needed a woman's place before it was here. A young marriage right out of high school didn't work that well, and so I had to face being a battered wife and then later on a single mom. I've understood since back then that it's more complicated than just a one-on-one person. It's a society thing that we need to change, not only safety for women, but also some of the rules so that it doesn't happen. My involvement with now the National Organization for Women was way back when, the early 70s. We had a very active National Organization for Women chapter here in Greeley. In fact, the Weld County chapter was the largest per capita in the United States at that time. So I was a president locally, and then we also went on to where I was a national officer. I was a regional director, so that meant I was in charge of 5 states. I also got to travel to Washington, D.C. several times and was actually there when they voted on the Equal Rights Amendment, whether to ratify that for the United States. Two of the results of the now organization here in Weld County were that we established a woman's place, which is still in existence and has grown exponentially. But the second one has morphed into what they now call SAVA, the sexual assault team. So a lot of the roots that were planted back then are still actively involved in the community now. What you don't want to know about human trafficking is it's the #1 growing criminal enterprise in the world. It is in our communities. It's not over there on the other side of the ocean someplace. We formed a coalition called Northeast Colorado Coalition Against Trafficking. That's what we're about, is becoming a group that works together, combines resources, and fights an evil in our community. One of the ways that my activism has morphed over the years is that I found ways that fit into my own personal life and my own personal profession that help women and girls in the community. I think a good example of that is the grant that I currently have through the Colorado Department of Transportation. It's at Ames College, and our purpose is to help females, minorities, and other disenfranchised populations to enter a non-traditional occupation. It can mean something as easy to get into as flagging, or it can go on to heavy equipment, operating a backhoe or a dozer, or it can also go into something like truck driving, which is CDL school that we have there at the college. They're professions that women can get into and be very good at, and they provide a career on the other end that gives them something that they can raise a family with. I've been a Greeley Independent Stampede Wrangler for 23 years. I've been in security at the Stampede for most of that time. One of the areas of my involvement that sort of took me by surprise was to become a member of the Harley Owners Group. We call it HOG. One of my biggest bragging rights is the fact that we have a charity run through that HOG group in northern Colorado that supports realities for children. We have the Guinness World Record for the largest poker run ever for a charity event. I think one of life's nicest paybacks is to be able to look at 2 granddaughters and watch them in action with the associated students at Ames and watch their activism and watch their passion and know that they're taking up the banner of changing things. And then on the other side of that, I've got a couple grandsons that one of them's taller than I am and doesn't mind being on the back of my motorcycle, and the other one sews with me every once in a while because he wants to. So it's the nice thing to have a world where your children and your grandchildren can do whatever they want to do because they're good at it.